Hi guys, and welcome to another lyrical breakdown with me, your lady friend Bonnie. I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be a long one, so I think we should just kind of get right on into it. This week I am doing Willie D. C00n as a lyrical breakdown, and this came out April 15th, 2016, so not like too long ago. And yeah, this one, I don't even know how I came across this one. I was looking it up and I did all my research and everything. And for some reason I had like another like random little list of like songs that I should break down like somewhere like separate from like my regular list for some stupid reason. And I don't think this was requested by anybody, but I don't remember having chosen this particular song. So I don't know, something about it. Somehow or another, it ended up on my to-do list. And yeah, so here I am doing it. And yeah, so one moment. We have a cat that's trying to escape. All right, well, that's taken care of for now. She'll probably try to come right back. Very needy animals, these cats. So a little thing about Willie D. He is another, we've been doing a lot of like Southern rappers recently. So he's another rapper from Texas, from more specifically from Houston. And he was part of the Ghetto Boys. So, yeah, I'm not an expert or anything like that. I just wanted to let you know that. I'm just, breaking this down for my own fun. Now we have another cat in. Okay, so the song actually starts off with a speech from I believe it's from Malcolm X. I know that it's a speech of Malcolm X's, but I don't know if it's actually him saying it, but I think it is. But yeah, let's give it a little bit of a listen. I'm not going to be playing the full song for you guys, so just a little clip of it. If you guys want to, you can go check out the whole song if what I have to say inspires you to check it out. So yeah, let's get started. Let's play it.
You light skinned, but they still calling you a darkie. The only reason that they put the
So after the speech, like I said, like the part of the speech by Malcolm X, it just gets into the intro. Tell your blank jokes while he in the room. He gonna laugh harder than you cause he a coon. I'm a goon, top down, pants up when I walk. Never call a CO a boss. I'm not a coon. So I think I should just probably get one thing out of the way to start with. I don't know if using coon is a bad word. It doesn't sound like it's a good word. I don't know if it equivalates, I don't even know if that's the right word, to, or is like equivalent to the N word. It's definitely not a word that I've really encountered very much in my life. It's like different from like a raccoon or from like the coon that's on South Park. That's Cartman's character. But that's pretty much like my like exposure to it. I really, it's definitely not something that I know about. But yeah, I definitely learned a lot doing this breakdown, so you will learn too. So if it is bad, I'm really sorry for saying it like a million times. I'm just reading his words, and I'm definitely not trying to like offend anybody. So let me just get that out of the way to start with. So yeah, so he's kind of saying like when you tell like these jokes about black people, especially like if you're in like the presence of other black people, and if you are allowing these jokes to be told and you're like laughing at them and everything, he's just kind of like, you're the worst. Like you just shouldn't be allowing that. Like you should be standing up for your own people. And goons are troublemakers, and they're kind of low on like the societal ladder. So they're kind of just driving around in what I would assume to be like maybe like a pimp style car again. Maybe because they're cool in Rapland for some reason. I wonder who the first rapper was that like had like some like Oldsmobile type of vehicle, I guess. I don't know. I've said a lot about the pimp cars in different videos, so yeah, I feel like if you have stuck around, you know my opinion already. I think that they're pretty ugly. Um, and he doesn't walk around with his pants low. He wears them, where they should be placed. So he's not like a hoodlum. He's not like a young punk or whatever. And he says a CO. I believe to be, in this particular case, to be meaning a correctional officer. So he must have been in maybe some sort of trouble at this time when he was writing this song. But I guess he basically doesn't consider the CO a very important person or one to report to, like as a boss. He's just somebody not really to care so much about. And he says that because he's not an idiot. If you really care about your correctional officer, or he's like the boss man, then maybe that's I guess he's basically saying that you're a coon for doing that if you trust your CO. So verse 1. Boom, it's the elephant in the room. Nah, that's the motherfucking coon. Black's been free since Lincoln got wasted, but some of these blanks still on the plantation. Listen up, Charles Barkley. You light skin, but still calling you a darky. The only reason that they put the mic in your face is so you can do the dirt and talk down on your race. So basically right away he's going to talk about what nobody else is going to talk about, the elephant in the room. And in this case, it's not an elephant. It is maybe like a black person in a room full of white people, sort of like the odd man out, like the thing that stands out. Like that's what the elephant in the room means. So he's kind of talking about that. And so I think right away, like that's like the first lines that he's saying. He's going to talk about the things that other people may not be talking about. So kind of like, this is your warning a little bit. And he talks about how Lincoln abolished slavery. But there are still black people working in the fields, particularly of those fields owned by white people. I think that's kind of what he's criticizing here. And he's calling out Charles Barkley. He really does not like Charles Barkley because I think he said something that Willie D obviously didn't like when black people were being targeted by the police, or not when, still are. And obviously, like I said, Willie D thinks that that's stupid, and he believes the opposite of what he thinks. And they point out that the only reason that white people listen to you is when you're talking down your own people, and that's not cool. It's not a good thing that you should be doing. So TNT made you big, put you on a wig. Now you're acting like you never had trouble with pigs. You kissed a man in the mouth for reals, dude. That's a no-no. When you gonna come out of the closet, you fucking homo? Saw you on television dressing in drag. What kind of dumb blank says slavery wasn't that bad? Dissing San Antonio women. That's the kettle and pot with that busted up ass wife you got. Busted up. With that busted up looking ass wife you got. Ooh, messed that one up. So I just want to say, like, first of all, like, sort of like a little side tangent. There's a lot of like American sports TV people discussed in this song. Not necessarily something that I know anything about. So I had to like really scramble and do like quite a decent amount of like research and try to figure out exactly what was going on, who these people were, what was going on at the times, and just kind of like what were like these situations that they were in that like he's kind of being called out on. So it was pretty interesting. Like I really spent some good time like searching all this stuff out. So hopefully I do it justice. And yeah, if you guys know all these people and you know all the situations in and out, take it easy on me. I'm learning. So TNT is like the sports station, I think, that the show plays on, that Charles Barkley gets his exposure, and I guess he's very popular to listen to, and I think he was because he was a famous basketball player, right? Famous basketball player, yeah. And now he's just kind of like sitting pretty, acting like he's never had the cops on his ass, so maybe he has had them in his past. And Willie D just wants him to stop lying about his sexuality and come out of the closet, which I get that, I get that you want people to come out and stop thinking, whatever, but just, calling them out and saying that, you're a fucking homo, which isn't nice at all. It doesn't make coming out any easier when you're like, you should come out, and you're like poking them and like you're prodding them and you're like, come on. Like, it's just like, what does it matter to you? I mean, that's what it is. I mean, what happens in somebody else's bedroom, that's fine. Nobody else cares. It shouldn't bother anybody. But that's my own opinion, So sorry, Willie. I'm not really with you on this one. There's a few things that he says that kind of I'm like, not so much. But anyways, and then he talks about when Charles Barkley dressed in drag, so I had to look that up. And the drag thing, I think it came from, it was like a bit that he did in like a Weight Watchers commercial. And I do remember like maybe having seen it or other people. Oh, I do know there was another guy that dressed in drag for like a Weight Watchers thing or for something. I want to say the guy who did James Bond, that guy, didn't he not like the most recent, I think, James Bond? I think he did something in drag. I'm just gonna stop rambling and just naming off people who did drag. But anyways, I mean, I'm sure he was paid a lot for it. So I mean, it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. If you want to wear a dress and you want to put on a wig, again, who cares? Like, how does it bother you? And so I was looking up what Charles had said about slavery. And it seems that he makes reference to like this topic a lot. Like, he seems to find it something that people can relate to or whatever, or maybe just pissing people off. I think that's maybe what it sometimes does as well. So it seems like he just likes kind of like stirring the pot and just kind of getting people aggravated, I guess. And so I think that this was kind of like a bit of a low blow for Willie D when he said that he was kind of putting in perspective the pot calling the kettle black. Like, when you kind of like don't throw rocks at glass houses or whatever it is. Like, it's the same thing. So I think it was a little bit of a low blow when Willie D like insults Charles Barkley's wife for being ugly. That's not her fault. And it's not very nice to say that about people, and it isn't really about him, it's about like his wife. And I don't know, I think that's kind of weird. Like, if you want to like attack someone like directly and leave everybody else out of it. But I mean, I don't know, maybe she's a terrible person, I don't know. But I don't necessarily agree with Willie on that move. But let's check out the hook. So if you're selling out your people, you're a coon. If you hate your own kind, you're a coon. Boot, liquor, shuck and jive, you're a coon. You're a coon, you're a coon, you're a coon. Again, so sorry. If you're selling out your kind, you're a coon. If you hate your own kind, you're a coon. Sambo died slow, you're a coon, you're a coon, you're a coon. So in Willie's eyes, for all these reasons, basically, he's kind of like giving like a list. He's calling you out, and if you don't protect someone or stand up for your own people, then you're a shitty person. And a coon, I believe, like technically is someone that kind of sells out for money, for like the entertainment of white people, I think. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And shuck and jive I had to look up, and I learned that it comes from, like, this was really great. This is like a really good like learning experience for me, because I did learn a lot from this, breaking down this song, and I thought that's kind of interesting. It may not necessarily be the type of song that I would normally go for, but I learned so much from it. yeah, and so the shuck and jive comes from like the slavery days, and like what I was reading on like a few different articles, that when like a black person says he's going to like do something, but like he knows that he's not going to do it, or when he's and he's like when he's like answering like the slave master, the white master. So I think it's sort of like a smooth talking kind of thing, or just saying like the right thing to make people happy, but not actually like following up on anything, and just kind of like shrugging it off. And he's like, oh, I'll get to it when he asks me to do it or whatever. So maybe just not like a man of your word, I think is kind of what it also means. And I couldn't find anything. I mean, if anybody knows anything about Sambo, I mean, I was able to find a decent amount about Sambo and everything, but I just found like mixed stories kind of about it. But I know that like Sambo is supposed to be like the younger version, and then the coon is supposed to be like the adult version of a black person's caricatures that they were drawing in like the 1800s or something. And probably, kept that imagery going for a long time. So I think that it's the Sambo character, like I said, is like a young boy. And he's like always clever and kind of pulling fast ones on people. Yeah, and I think that's it, like I said, and just so he'll grow up into kind of being like the person that kind of does the same sort of thing and doesn't follow up on his word. So yeah. But I think that there was like different stories about them. So if you guys have like any, if you guys are like, have anything that you want to contribute or anything you want to let me know about like Sambo and Coon and like all of that kind of stuff that I'm not like super aware of, definitely let me know down in the comments below. I would love to learn from you guys. Or if you know any, like if there's any other videos that you've ever seen or articles or books or anything that will help me learn about that, that'd be great. Anyways, let's go to verse 2. Okay, so how to make a coon. If you wish for a black one, put some change in his pocket and give him a platform. Put him on suspension if he crossed that line, but if he's shitting on his people, give him more airtime. Stephen A. Smith, what's up with that hairline? Big mouth, louder than 4 Alpines. Got a chip on your shoulder 'cause ball games suck, and you gotta work with players that your wife wanna fuck. So he's now telling us about how one becomes a coon. And if you give like a black man money, like a little bit of money, I guess, and you give him a voice and a place to speak, then he's basically implying that that man will fuck up in some way and be forced off of work unless he talks crap about his own people and he's hating on his own people. Then everybody's going to want to watch that. And by everybody, I mean like the white people. I don't know why I did air quotes. White people and other coons, I guess, would be interested in that, and people like that. And he's talking about this Stephen guy, Stephen A. Smith. Again, I don't really know anything. I've never heard of him before. I had to look this up. I'll just be like straightforward. So he's another sports commentator person, and like he's a black guy, and Willie is disrespecting, or not disrespecting, I guess. He's kind of shaming him for having this weird hairline, but it's just a receding hairline. It's pretty normal in most men of a certain age. Not most men, a lot of men. But I found that kind of like a shitty thing for Willie to do because Willie's bald. So I feel like that's the same sort of thing. At least he has hair. This other guy, Steven, has hair. Again, not trying to start anything, but I'm just kind of like, oh, really? But yeah, so Willie's basically saying that Steven talks louder. And he talks about these 4 Alpines. Again, I had to look that up. And those are what I believe to be like super like powerful subwoofers or speakers or something like that. Like they're very, very like strong and loud. And I guess Willie D doesn't think that Steven is that great of a basketball player. And I think it was basketball. That's what he was playing. I read something where he won a scholarship for his basketball for a basketball team. And there was a chip. He was talking about the chip on his shoulder, and I found another link that showed that like maybe it was Chip Kelly who was the head coach, or still is. I really don't know. Of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not really sure how that all kind of comes together, but I feel like there's like something in there. So the chip, yeah. I mean, like I said, guys, you guys all watch. I just assume all straight guys watch. No, yeah. I just think if you do watch sports, can you let me know what's going on? Because I don't know anything about that. I watch like figure skating, and that's pretty much about it. But yeah. So I was a little bit confused, but I just wanted to say that just in case it was relevant, you know. And I'm guessing that his wife or one of them, because I think I read somewhere that he was married and divorced 3 times. Well, whichever wife at the time, voiced that she thought some of the guys on the team were hot and that she was maybe going to cheat, or she did cheat. And I couldn't find anything about that, so that's just like my speculation. Like this is not hard facts or anything. But like I said, if you guys watch like TSN or whatever and you know more about this, definitely let me know down below. I'm a savage running through the field amok. Raven-Symoné, shut your chicken head dumb ass up. White folks don't love you. Black folks don't trust you. When you was on that show, Bill Cosby must have drugged you. I had to get ya cause you're cooning for capital. You Hollywood blanks are laughable. You're not infallible like Cosby. When they use you up, they're gonna throw your ass under the bus. So he's going hard and intense running through the field. I think that's kind of what he's talking about. He does not like Raven's opinion, and basically says that she doesn't fit in anywhere because she's like a fraud and a liar, and like nobody knows, like white people don't really like her, and black people don't trust her. So, but I mean, like that's just like his opinion. Like he doesn't know that all white people don't like her. I mean, that's so Raven. And then like he goes in like hard after, and it's like, oof, what he's talking about, like the rape charges against Bill Cosby, who is update now in jail, I believe, and he has so he's kind of like saying that like some rape or something happened when Raven was on his show, which is, I don't know, I hope not. I hope nobody gets raped, period. So he has to do this. This is like Willie's duty, that he has to call out people like Raven, like Bill Cosby or whoever, because you're taking money at the cost of others, especially like of your own people, of people that, you know, you should be caring about because you are one of them. And, you know, you guys should, you know, build up your community and not tear it down and not hurt your own people. It's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black, because Willie D's kind of doing the same thing. Just saying. So you let me know what you think about all of this, if you agree or if you disagree, or like some of it you agree to and some of it you're not so sure of. I think it's a really like interesting like discussion. So he's doing this. So he thinks that all like the black people in Hollywood are just like ridiculous, and when when you kind of like you're dried up and you're boring and white people are no longer interested in you, then they'll just like dismiss you, just like they did with Bill Cosby. They were not going to care for you or support you. So there's that. And then we have the hook again. I'm not going to go through it again. But I also wanted to say that like the beat is like super hype, and like the song is really, really good. It's a really catchy song, and you'll enjoy listening to it for sure. It's just kind of like a little, not shocking, but just kind of attacking, I guess. So verse 3. Ah, hell, CNN is on. Check out this little bitch named Dawn Lemon. Getting stuck in the butt, but your ass got corrupted. You can smell weed, but you can't smell injustice. Selling your people out while the police murder them. I wish the protesters would have shot you in Ferguson. I wish I wish that would have been Stacey Dash on the ground instead of Michael Brown, but with additional rounds. So now he's complaining about this black gay news anchor from Louisiana. I think he's kind of saying that like he's on CNN, so he's like, you know, doing well for himself. But he has Don Lemon has had some controversial things to say about other black people, including Kanye West. And when he was on air, like the specifically like the quote that he's kind of talking about, when you smell marijuana, you can smell weed. And because he said on air, live in an interview, or not an interview, when he was like doing his reporting, he said, obviously there's a smell of marijuana. Smell is never obvious to people watching TV. So I'll just say that to start with. And nothing else had anything to do with marijuana. So it definitely didn't seem like an obvious statement. It just seemed like he was there and he was like, well, obviously it smells like marijuana. But like, it seemed really weird that he was saying that. Like, I don't know. Definitely not something that he should have mentioned. And this was while he's standing in front of like a courthouse in Ferguson, Missouri, where this is like when all of like the protests and everything else was going on, and like just like an insane amount of like backlash and rioting and things like that in Ferguson. And this was because Michael Brown, an 18-year-old black man, was killed by a white officer named Darren Wilson. And then the injustice at the courthouse that he's kind of like reporting on at this moment when he talks about the marijuana, I believe was the injustice that he's talking about was when the cop was not indicted. And so he didn't really get any punishment for having killed this 18-year-old boy. Which is pretty crazy. Not to say that, you know, I definitely don't. Yeah, I think that whole situation was just crazy. I definitely remember that. So he's, you know, Willie is kind of calling Don out for not standing up for black people and for like the injustice that's like going on basically right behind him. He's just not seeing it, and I think that's kind of telling that he should be a little bit more aware. But like at the same time, like I get it, like I understand, like I know that this is like my opinion and it's just like a white person's opinion, but like, you know, if somebody else was in jail and a white person had killed someone, you know, like maybe it would be this, I don't know how it would feel and how it would be different. Maybe I'll just never understand. I'll just leave it at that. Maybe it's just like something that it's not something that like me as like a white person can ever like really understand. So, but on that note, kind of, if you want a fun story, here's a fun personal story. One of my ex-boyfriends from when I was like 14 or something, he also was, I don't know if he was killed by police, but he died in a very similar situation, where he was fleeing from the police. He was on parole. He robbed a corner store, which is pretty similar to what Michael Brown, who we're talking about, this 18-year-old black boy, did. He had robbed a place, and I think that they were kind of coming after him, but they definitely shouldn't have shot him for having done that. And same sort of thing. So this ex-boyfriend of mine, he was 20 at the time, and he ran away from the cops, but maybe not the smartest guy. He decided to swim away from the cops, so he dived into a canal, and somehow or another in the canal he died. So I don't know if he broke his neck or if he hit something or he drowned. I don't really know what had happened, but there's my story. So yeah, to be young again. So, and then he talks about that he wishes that the person would, you know, that was dead, wasn't dead, and instead he starts attacking Stacey Dash. For anybody who doesn't know who she is, I'm just gonna say, Dion from Clueless, and I feel like that's probably the most popular thing that she's ever been in. Although she has been in other great movies and TV shows and stuff like that. But I think as far as what I've seen her in, she usually is the token black friend. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, she seems like a fine person, but I don't know her at all. So, I mean, I'm basing it off of one movie, or, not one movie. I've seen a few things with her. But yeah, I'm just basing it off of her acting. I don't know anything about her as a real person. So he keeps talking about her. So let's go into that. Heard you slept your way to the top. Somebody lying. You're a D-list actress. Been divorced 3 times. Stank ass. They say you easy, plus you on Fox News. How you gonna talk about somebody else's morals and values? They prop these clowns up to undermine the plight. Give them the spotlight and reduce them to sound bites. Uncle Tom's dancing to the stereotypes. How you motherfuckers sleep at night. Pretty harsh. So he's, like I said, he's calling out Stacey Dash, kind of for sleeping her way to her success. But hey, all the more power to her if she, if that's what she's able to do, and she got where she is now today, and you're singing about her. Good for you. Yeah. I'm not that I'm condoning sleeping with people to like get ahead, but I mean, do what you got to do, man. So yeah, he's kind of judging her and where she's at in life and calling her names. Well, again, childish a little bit. Willie, like, what are you doing? You're smarter than that. Maybe. I don't know. I hope so. So she's also like on Fox News sometimes. I think she kind of gives her opinions, or I don't really watch Fox News. I don't really watch any news. Except, well, I guess that's not true. I watch some news. But yeah, I don't really like actively look out for like Fox News or anything like that. So he's just kind of like, how can you judge the people who are acting like this and who are selling themselves out to be on TV, and those are the people that you're watching, and that's gonna like transcend to like the next generation and to the kids and to like the whole society. To everybody's gonna kind of be like, in a sense, like brainwashed by like this person who like he doesn't feel should be on television, and we shouldn't be giving, I say we, but I think he's talking about black people, not we as in white people. But I think that I think he's criticizing why we allow, again with the we, why you allow people on TV that are going to give you and we need to have people on TV that are actually going to care about like the struggles of a minority, black minority, and just kind of like dealing with like the black man's plight and the black woman's plight, and just kind of dealing with that issue, and not like just kind of letting it go, and like not taking it seriously. In like the case of he's not giving really an example for Stacey Dash, but in the case of Don Lemon, like that seems to be like an issue. Like he's not like caring about his own people. Like, he can stand up and say like, listen, I don't feel comfortable reporting on this story for da 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 da, or for, whatever. Like you can stand up and say no or yes to certain things. So, and I think that kind of brings it back into like the beginning speech by Malcolm X, when he's kind of talking about, the plight and how you can stay a slave, kind of, or how you can escape that mentality. And I think that that's kind of what it was. And I think that's kind of why it kind of ties into the song. So, yeah, they should just not have been allowed to talk like that. And I think Willie is like a bit conservative for his views a little bit, but that's fine. So Uncle Tom, he's going to be talking about Uncle Tom dancing to the stereotypes. For anybody who wants to, Uncle Tom's Cabin is by Harriet Beecher Stowe, is a fantastic book, and yeah, it's definitely worth a read to anybody who hasn't read it. Like, I don't care who you are. If you haven't read it and you're looking for a book to read, definitely check out Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's very, very good, worth your time. But like that's not really like the reference that like he's talking about necessarily, but he is judging people kind of who feed into like the stereotypes and the discrimination that that kind of white people cause. I think that's what he's talking about. So he's just kind of saying like, how do you sleep at night? How do you stand up and like keep going when you're like acting like that? So he's very concerned. He's obviously very for Black people, and that's a very good thing. But I just think that some of the ways that he was going about it wasn't necessarily the best way. But I mean, hey, he definitely got his point across. So the song itself is kind of essentially done, and then there's just sort of like a monologue at the end. So I'm going to like read quickly, well, as quickly as I can through it. So the monologue is: the supporters of coons love to talk about how they respect them because the coon have their own mind, or they have their own opinions, or they think outside of the box. That's a lie. The reason why they support the coon is because they can control the coon. Now, some people gonna have a problem with me calling these coons out. First thing they gonna say that is crabs in the bucket. Let me tell you something. This ain't got nothing to do with me trying to hold another Black person back. I love to see Black people getting it. You understand what I'm saying? So he just wants like again, like he's you know, I did it too. Like I was kind of like, you know, he's kind of judging his own people, and so it is kind of like holding people back, but he's trying to like stop these, again, like very like big influential names, and you know, for people who know them, he doesn't want them to keep going with like this kind of like hate, or like, you know, I don't know how else to describe it, this cooning, I guess, that they're doing. So he doesn't want them doing that. But like I don't know, I think he's trying to say that he's different than that, but he is kind of doing it as well. But if your criticism of the Black community outweigh your contribution to the Black community, and you're Black, you a motherfucking coon. Straight up, right? If every time the police shoot somebody Black and you take the police side, you're a coon. If you fixed your mouth to say that we ended racism and discrimination in America, like this old coon ass blank David Clark who calls himself a sheriff in Milwaukee, you're a coon. If you're of any ethnicity other than white and you support Donald Trump, yes, you are a coon. If you are out here ratting on the next man because he's hustling and y'all doing the same thing, no, you're not just a coon, you're a motherfucking rat coon. Now let me get back to this cross-dressing ass blank Charles Barkley. Again, it's not cross-dressing if you're doing drag. That's a whole separate thing. There's a separate issues. And being a drag is totally fine. It's just like acting. You're just putting on clothes and a dress. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just like being a clown. Again, my opinion. Look here, blank. You love to talk about how you'll slap somebody. I wish you would put your motherfucking hands on me. I'd body your fat ass. Real talk. This blank got a real self-hate issue. Fuck Charles Barkley and the ground he walk on. If you fucking with Charles Barkley, fuck you too. Yeah, I said it. It's Willie D, H-Town, 5th Ward, dirty. So he's definitely pointing out, again, what a coon is, the different ways you can be a coon, and giving like some like concrete examples. And basically saying like, if you're not with us, you're against us kind of mentality. And then a lot more obviously dissing of Charles Barkley and all of that. And like, you know, shouting out H-Town, which is great, you know, got to give your props. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we have an outro. Again, lots of coons. I'm very sorry. Willie D talking, where the coons at? Where the coons at? Where they at? gunshot. Where are the coons at? Where are the coons at? Where are they at? Where are they at? Where are they at? And then gunshot. Where are the coons at? Where are the coons at? Where are they at? Where are they at? Where are they at? Gunshot. Where are the coons at? Where are the coons at? Where are they at? Where are they at? Where are they at? So you hear like kind of like the sound of gunshots again, and then I think there's like the empty bullets go like hitting like the ground. So he's basically killing off all of the coons that are stupid enough to kind of like expose themselves publicly. So it's a very interesting song. There's kind of a lot in it, and it's definitely like Willie D definitely has a very strong opinion about like how a black person should conduct themselves, and how they shouldn't. And he gives some concrete examples throughout the entire song. And it's really interesting. It's definitely like something that I haven't really encountered before. But it's, it is kind of shocking, and you're not really sure what to do with it. And it's kind of against the norm. But he's definitely stirring up some interesting discussions, I think. Or he did stir up. Is this 2016? And I watched a couple of interviews, and like there was one interview that I watched where he was on talking about like this song, and just like the guy next to him, like the guy who was like asking him, he was another black man, and he just seemed so uncomfortable, and like he didn't know what to say. He was just like, yep, those are his words, not mine, like just letting you know, like all the like it was just kind of like, anyways, I feel like I'm just kind of rambling, but yeah, it's funny. He's an interesting guy, and right? I mean, he's trying to like to stand up for his own people, and I think that that's like a really great cause. I do think some of the ways that he's doing it, like I said, isn't necessarily the right way, but who's to say? What's the best thing that's going to happen? So I think that's pretty much it. That's the whole song, guys. I'm sorry if it was like rambly and I've talked kind of way too much, but I feel like there was a lot to say about this, and I learned a lot doing like the research, and there's still lots to learn. So if you guys have any information or knowledge you want to share with me about this, definitely, like I said, leave it in the comments down below. And if there are any songs that you want to see me break down ever, leave those in the comments down below as well, and I will add them to a list, and I will get to them at some point. So yeah, thanks for sticking around with me. If you made it through this video, thank you so much. So I definitely want to say thank you to our patrons on Patreon. If you do want to support us, you can check out the link down below. Linda Williams, Ismail Gadamsi, Carl J, Chris Prado, and Super Old School in 1994. So thank you guys so much as always. And we also have a Discord going as well, so you can get involved and like chat with us. I need to actually like get in there and start chatting with you guys. So yeah, you can check that out. And I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. And don't forget, if you like this video, you can like this video, subscribe or comment down below. And we're always happy to like answer any of your comments. So thank you guys, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.